Welcome back to Franklin High School. Rick Dupree bringing you quarter number one here, the boys varsity. Franklin, the Quakers, hosting the Roosevelt Rough Riders. Craig Jackson at the helm for the Quakers and Bruce Richardson for the Roosevelt Rough Riders. And Tony, I'll tell you what, we had a good first game here. The girls,
Yes.
some young ladies stepping up big time, man.
A couple of freshmen, one for the Franklin Quaker, Ciara Toole, had a really strong game. And then Jasmine Hall for Roosevelt, the freshman, again, just kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, we are here live at Franklin, and we are about ready to tip it off for game number two. And, again, our coverage here and a lot happening this weekend. We'll tell you more about that as we get into the broadcast, but a lot happening at the Columbia City Theater tomorrow from noon until 5, correct, Tony?
And noon until 5.
Vendors there. Sunday, we've got a youth event, virtual youth event from 2 to 4, and then Monday we will be at the rally and march, and you can see that and hear it all right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. Well, the tip-off, and the Quakers come up with it, and they have the ball. And with the ball, Marcel Jones, steal there, and almost, but Marcel Jones gets it back, comes across the timeline. The lefty finds big man underneath and driving to the basket. Bucket won't go, and the rebound comes down to the Rough Riders. So if you just tuned in, this is game number 2, just starting. Franklin and Roosevelt. Jumper on the other end for the Roosevelt Rough Riders. That's number 12, Jalen Dollar. Count it. Giving the Rough Riders a 2-0 lead here early as we start the ball game. Quakers across the timeline. Pass inside. Oh, and a great pass from Emmanuel Brandon to Jaden Thorne. And Jaden Thorne lays it in to tie the score at 2. Quakers with the full court press. Rough Riders get it across, 20 on the shot clock. Near steal, and I think a foul is going to be called. Yep. And they're going to call a pushing foul, holding foul on, I believe, number 4, Marcel Jones, his first foul. Marcel, freshman. Jalen Dollar with the ball. Dollar, 5'10", sophomore, and guarded by that freshman, Marcel Jones. On Dollar cutting to the basket, but misses the lay-in, and rebound comes down to Jaden Thorne. And the Quakers on the run. Jones with it. Looking around. Finds Jamari Jackson Kins. Now over to Amari Harris. And back to Jones. Quakers moving it around, trying to penetrate in this Roosevelt defense. Jackson Kins with the ball, 8 on the shot clock. Kins over to Amari Harris. Harris, the three-pointer. It's good. Count it, Amari Harris for 3. Giving the Quakers a 5-2 lead here early at the start of the ball game. Again, Rick Dupree, Tony B, along with Daniel B. and Lourdes, we are here. And as you know, not a lot of fans, just the essentials here as Seattle Public Schools making sure keeping it safe here with the rise of the Omicron variant. Turnover on the Roosevelt end of the court. Quakers with the ball. Coming around off a screen, lefty, long jumper won't go, Jackson Kins. And coming down with the rebound, Sam Lynn for the Rough Riders. Lynn brings it across himself. He's guarded by Jackson Kins, I should say. Pass inside, and great cut. Lynn got the pass from Dollar, but couldn't make the lay-in. Quakers on the run. Jones with the ball. Now they pull it out. Amari Harris with it, taking his time. Now directing traffic. Gets a screen. Then over to Jones. Jones driving to the right. Good defense by Dollar. Dollar knocks it away. Steal for the Rough Riders. Again, 5-2. The Quakers lead it here. 5:10 left to go. And the ball hits the referee. Would have gone out of bounds, but hit the referee, and the Rough Riders maintain possession. 18 on the shot clock. Moving the ball around. Danilo Petrovic over to Sam Villa. The three-pointer from the corner. It's good. And Sam Villa with that three-pointer ties it up at 5. And then the steal on the other end. And Petrovic. And then the ball was knocked away off of Petrovic's knee, it looked like, out of bounds. He's questioning the referee, saying, I don't think it was off of me. But the ref says, no, it was, young man. And so it will be the Quakers ball. 4:50 left to go here in the first quarter. Tie ball game, 5-5. Craig Jackson leading his Franklin Quakers, hosting the Bruce Richardson-led Roosevelt Rough Riders. Jaden Thorne drives, kicks it out. Emmanuel Brandon looking for Amari Harris. And the ball just a little too tall for Harris. Can't get it out of bounds. Turnover. And as a coach, that's one of the things you hate to see, that unforced error.
You know, Rick, Roosevelt started off slow like this against Cleveland as well, but then as the game came on, they wore them down. We'll see if they...
Yeah, they really did. And a guy who was key for them, Danilo Petrovic, and the jumper on the corner, and I believe a three-pointer. Sam Villa, his second three-pointer, giving the Rough Riders a 3-point lead, 8-5, 4:10 left to go in the first quarter. Quakers moving the ball around. Amari Harris driving into the paint, then drops it off to Emmanuel Brandon. Brandon shot blocked. Brandon gets it back, though, stays with the big guy, and puts it in to make it a one-point ball game. So the Quakers putting some pressure, just trying to make the Rough Riders use a little bit of time off the shot clock, down to 20 now. And I believe they're going to say, yep, Roosevelt Rough Rider player stepped out of bounds on the baseline, so turnover. Again, one of those unforced errors, but not really unforced, because good defense by the Quakers. And so the Quakers will take over trailing 8-7, 3:49 left to go in the first quarter. And foul on the sideline, Marcel Jones bringing it down. And he was tripped up by Jalen Dollar. So I believe that'll be Dollar's first personal foul of the ballgame. Dollar again, the 5'10 freshman. We saw him at Cleveland, game we brought to you last weekend. And Dollar can knock that three-pointer down. Quakers now in front court. Thorne back out to Jones. Back to Thorne. 18 on the shot clock. Thorne looking. Back to Jones. Kind of a two-man game. Jones driving the baseline. Triple team. Gets a shot off. Tough shot, and it's no good. And then Roosevelt, the ball. Jalen Dollar fell. And Quakers get the ball back. The lefty, Jamari Jackson Kins, driving the baseline. Then a short little jumper to give the Quakers a 9-8 lead. 3:05 left to go in the ball game, or in the first quarter, I should say. And Roosevelt, the shot in the paint, no good. That was Dante Washington. And Washington, though, hustles in, trying to force a turnover, but he throws it away. Quakers with the ball. Across the timeline, Jackson Kins drives into the paint. And they're going to say a foul on the floor. Although, Tony, I think he looked like he was in the act of shooting, but the referee said no, on the floor, so the Quakers will take it out.
He was shooting that when he got the ball back court.
yeah. But they don't get a continuation here in the Metro League, unfortunately. So the Quakers will have a new 30, baseline inbounds and into the ball game. Carmonte Banks. Banks takes it in. Now over to Marcel Jones. Jones surveying the defense between the legs. One-on-one covered by Dante Washington. Over to Jackson Kins. Back to Jones. Jones driving the baseline. Little runner in the paint. Marcel Jones giving the Quakers an 11-8 lead. 2:25 left to go here in quarter number one. And Jones, good defense, knocks the ball away, steals it, and then takes it in for the bucket. And Marcel Jones, two quick buckets, give the Quakers a 13-8 lead.
Lazy with the ball.
Yep. I'll tell you what, Jones made him pay. On the other end now, Rough Riders, and they're going to call a travel on the far end of the court. I couldn't see it, blocked by the official, but the official closest to it said, young man, move the foot. Can't move that pivot foot.
You know, Franklin doing what they should do. If Roosevelt is going to start off slow and commit turnovers, take advantage of it and get yourself a lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Franklin leading by 5 now, 13-8, 2:08 left to go in the first quarter. Rick Dupree bringing the play-by-play. Tony B will be your man in quarter number 2. Right now, the Quakers with the ball. Marcel Jones, freshman, over to Jackson Kins, and pass is knocked out of bounds by Danilo Petrovic. And so the Quakers will take the ball. 24 on the shot clock. 2:01 left to go. And checking in for the Quakers, number 32, Desmond Brown, senior postman. And postman as in a post player, not a mailman. But I'm sure you knew that. Jones with the ball over to Jackson Kins. Jackson Kins directing traffic. Gets it to Amari Harris. Harris back to Jackson Kins, playing the two-man game on the top right now. 13 on the shot clock. They just go back and forth from side to side. Now Harris drops it down to the big guy, Brown. Brown in the paint, kicks it out. Three-pointer won't go. That was Jackson Kins, but the rebound comes down to the Quakers, and putting it back in is Carmonte Banks. Banks with the bucket. And again, extending the Quakers' lead to 15-8 with 1:28 left to go here in the first quarter. And that full court pressure causing the Rough Riders some trouble. Get the ball across, and are they going to say over and back? Yeah, they're saying over and back, no foul. So pressure by the Quaker defense and forcing another turnover. So they'll take possession. 1:19 left to go in the first quarter. Franklin leading Roosevelt 15-8. So you can hear some fans probably in the background, but it is a small crowd here. Again, Seattle Public Schools really restricting no fans basically coming in. And Jones with the drive and tries to make a little shovel pass, won't go, stolen. Jalen Dollar with it on the other and kicks it out. Lynn with the three-pointer. The rims around, won't go. Fight for the rebound, and it's going to be a jump ball. And I think the possession arrow pointing in the direction, let's see, of the Quakers. And so the Quakers will have the ball out.
Would you mind doing this game? I'll talk every now and then. First game.
So Rough Riders with the ball and the three-pointer. Jalen Dollar from the top of the key. Knocks it down, making the 4-point ball game 15-11. Quakers with the ball across the timeline. Moving around now, taking the time. Jones, the freshman, showing the poise of a senior. Gets the ball over to Harris. Harris dribbling to his left. Jumper, Harris forces it up, won't go. Fight for the rebound, knocked out, and they're going to say it is out on the Quakers. So it'll be Rough Rider ball. Check that. Saying it's out on the Rough Riders, Quaker ball. And Coach Bruce Richardson right there in front of the Roosevelt bench and kind of questioned the call, but he says, hey, okay, if that's what you say. So 28.6 left to go here in quarter number one. Franklin leading Roosevelt 15-11. Quakers moving the ball around, trying to penetrate the zone defense of the Roosevelt Rough Riders. 18, about a 0.5 second difference on the shot clock and the quarter clock. It's down to 10. Look inside, in the paint, the big guy. Oh, off the window, won't go. That was Desmond Brown. Fight for the rebound. The Rough Riders get it 2.9, and the shot from the half court at the buzzer hits the rim, almost goes in. And I tell you what, that was Sam Lynn with the shot. So at the end of one quarter, Franklin leading Roosevelt by a score of 15-11. Other games going on tonight, and we're going to throw it to Daniel Bella to update you on what's happening around the city here in the Metro League and beyond, right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. Daniel?
Yes, sir, Rick. O'Day looks like they're cruising to a win against Bishop Blanchette in the fourth quarter, leading 74-55. But number 8, Gig Harbor, taking their first loss of the season against Timberline, number 17 Timberline, in a battle of league opponents there. They lose by 3 points. Very close going down the wire, 60-57, taking first loss of the season for Gig Harbor. They're now 11-1 on the season, and that improves number 17 Timberline to 8-3. Also in action currently, Kelso winning against 2A opponent WF West 64-52 in that one right there.
And so about ready to start quarter number two. Franklin leading Roosevelt 15-11. We are here live in the house that the Quakers built, because it is the Quakers' house. And the alma mater of one Tony B back in the house. Yes, indeed. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the legends they have on the walls here. But meantime, the Quakers underneath. Amari Harris from the baseline. The shot is blocked, knocked out of bounds. So it'll be a new 30 seconds for the Quakers. And the referees trying to get the clocks. I think there is a discrepancy on the clock here. So the referee's trying to get it cleared up. And they do 7:48.
Paolo Banchero, the potential number 1 draft pick, his mother's banner is hanging up here at Franklin. Rhonda Smith.
Yep, right next to Trent Johnson and Aaron Pierce, the great football player, went on to UW. And a baseline jumper by Desmond Brown won't go. Check that. That was Carmonte Banks. And Jalen Dollar with the Rough Riders and with the Rock. Passes over Washington. Washington back to Dollar. Dollar driving in the paint. Loses the ball, gets it back, puts up the little left-handed runner, won't go. The rebound to the Quakers. Streaking is Marcel Jones. And coming from nowhere, Sam Lynn to block it out of bounds. So Sam Lynn kind of coming and said, hello, young man. You better recognize. Says to the freshman, it ain't going to be that easy, my man. So knocking the ball out. 26 on the shot clock. The Quakers will have it. Checking out on the baseline and checking in for the Quakers for the first time. Kayvon Bias, senior wingman. And he has the ball driving the paint. And Bias takes it right to the rack, coming in off the bench and makes his presence known with the basket, giving the Quakers a 17-11 lead.
Nice move there by Bias, splitting the defense, good body control to get that ball up over the hoop.
Hassan with the ball for the Rough Riders, and tell you what, he was being harassed, kind of spun around, and they called him for a travel. Tell you what, the Franklin Quaker defense, they are pressuring, and this is Craig Jackson basketball. He's got the athletes to do it. And Franklin looking good, having a good season. I believe 5-3, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to look at it, but having a good season so far, coming down. And
nice pass.
Off, good pass, and Carmonte banks it in for the lay-in, giving the Quakers a 17, actually 19-11 lead. We'll see the scoreboard. Maybe the 7. Yeah, there they go. Put it up there. Rough Riders trying to penetrate the Quaker defense. Quakers in a matchup zone. Three-pointer won't go. Fight for the rebound, and Quakers come up with it. Jackson Kins, he'll keep it himself. Brings it across the half-court line. Over to Harris. Harris guarded by Petrovic. It's back over to Jackson Kins. Jackson Kins now backing it out. 15 on the shot clock. Gets a screen. Then dishes it off to Bias. Bias with the ball. Drops it down to Brown.
7 seconds on the shot clock, Rick. They're going to have to get the shot off.
Yep, and Brown gets a tough shot up. Won't go. Rebound comes down to the Rough Riders. And so, again, Rough Riders, good defense on that possession. And Petrovic drive to the basket, won't go. Knocked to the ground, but no call. The rebound comes down to Washington. He misses. Rough Riders get it again. Lynn with the ball, driving baseline. Oh, nice dish off to Washington. Washington can't convert, but there for the tip in. I couldn't see who got the tip in there. I'm not sure.
I think it was Petrovic.
Petrovic got the tip in there.
Petrovic.
So with that kind of follow, makes the score 19-13. Timeout on the floor. 5:38 left to go in the first half here. And you heard Tony talking about during the first game, if you are an artist and you suffered some loss, financial loss that is, and can document that, For Culture has got some money for you. Anywhere from, and that loss being $1,000 or more, they have a recovery grant of up to $12,000. So take advantage of that if you're an artist, a producer, you're someone who produces art. For Culture wants to bless you. And if you can verify that you have a loss, COVID-related loss in 2019 or 2020, make sure to go to their website, forculture.org, to get more information. And you might be a beneficiary of up to $12,000, anywhere from $1,000 to $12,000 kind of recovery grant. Quakers with the ball and moving around, drive to the basket, won't go, but there for the tip in and put it back, Desmond Brown. And I'll tell you what, the Quakers have some size, and they attack the boards.
You know what? Craig has some players to work with this year. They're much deeper than they've been in the last couple of years. They may not have that one big-name guy, but they've got some players that total up to a good team here.
Yeah, they really do. And playing his type of ball, they get after it. And on the fast break and the pass in and not able to handle it is Banks. It goes out of bounds, so the Rough Riders will take over. But, yeah, Quakers playing the type of ball that Craig Jackson wants them to play, and that is just harassing defense, contest everything. And on the offensive end, you're trying to get a fast break and get the easy buckets.
Craig says, hey, if you're an athlete, I can turn you into a basketball player.
Yeah, no doubt. In the corner, and that was, I'm not sure, got the player number 11. We'll check that, but number 11 with the three-pointer for the Roosevelt Rough Riders. I've got number 11 on the roster, but not a name next to it, so we'll check that and get back to you. Quakers on the other end. Brown driving, and off the window, Desmond Brown. Noah Kuzan, I believe. That's what I had on the roster, and then it was crossed off, and I don't know if I crossed it off or someone else did. I had the rosters checked before the game, but right now we will credit number 11 for Roosevelt as Noah Kuzan. So drive in the paint, Jalen Dollar, and he's going to be fouled on the shot. He'll go to the line. He'll have 2 shots. So we've got 4:07 left to go here in the first half. Franklin hosting the Roosevelt Rough Riders, and the Quakers leading Roosevelt 23-17. to 16.
You're getting a little homer out of me right now. Again, this is my alma mater for high school, but I like what Franklin is doing on defense. They're collapsing. They're not giving anything up easy on the inside. They're playing. They're hustling, and Roosevelt, if they don't get into their game, might be in for a surprise.
Yeah, no doubt. And, like you said, I mean, Franklin is going to contest everything, the defense, and they are after it. And, Tony, you mentioned this earlier. They have some really good athletes and something that, again, Coach Craig Jackson has not had over the last couple of years. Jalen Dollar makes one of two free throws to make the score 23-17. And so Jackson taking advantage of it. Three-pointer on the baseline. No good. That was Marshawn Hillard, I should say. And the follow-up on the other end from the miss, and that's Petrovic knocking it down for the putback bucket, making it a 23-19 score. So the Rough Riders not going anywhere, making a 4-point ball game with 3:35 left to go here in quarter number 2, and a foul out near the half-court line.
And Jalen Dollar got away with it over and back.
Yes,
right in
he
front
did.
Of
He was in the backcourt, stepped over, touched his foot in the front court, came back. Referee was right there and missed it. It was right in front of us, and I saw that as well. So the Quakers with the ball, 22 on the shot clock, leading it 23-19. 3:30 left to go. Check the three. Okay, the clock. Yeah, Tony mentioned the clocks are not always consistent here, but 3:18 is both clocks showing right now.
It catches up.
Yeah,
time. It catches up with time.
Yeah. So it looks like one clock may get a little caught up on time, but regardless, 3:13 left to go here in the first half. Franklin leading 23-19. Rough Riders with the ball. Sophomore Jalen Dollar kicking it out. 3-point shot off the back iron, won't go. That was Kuzan. And then Lynn with the drive in, got the rebound, won't go. And rebound comes down to the Quakers. That is Marshawn Hillard. Out to Jaden Thorne. Thorne over to Hillard. And now Amari Harris kind of directing traffic. Calls for a screen, doesn't get it. Again, the Rough Riders in the 2-3 zone. And Quakers the pass inside, and they're going to be called for a travel. The pass went inside to Emmanuel Brannon, and looked like he got in the paint there, but the official said he shuffled his feet, so travel. So turnover. 2:37 left to go here in the first half. Franklin leading Roosevelt 23-19. Jalen Dollar gets the screen, takes it all the way to the basket, but his shot is blocked by Amari Harris, and a late whistle, and I believe they're going to call a foul. Let's see if they call that on Harris, because that looked like all ball, Tony.
It definitely looked like all ball. If there was body contact in there, maybe that's what it was. But
yeah, and it looks like they called a foul on Jaden Thorne. Okay, Jaden Thorne, because Harris came from kind of behind and got the block, but Thorne called for the foul. So Jalen Dollar at the line, shooting 2. First one is up and hits the kind of left side of the iron, kind of in the front, and falls short. No good. We'll have one more shot. 2:28 left to go in the first half.
Of course, this is organized basketball, but if you do that on the street, you don't get that call.
No,
you say don't bring that in here.
No, exactly. You got to come in here with some authority, young man. All right, Dollar's second free throw is up and in. It's good. And the Quakers now a 3-point lead with 2:28 left. Roosevelt Rough Riders getting a little man pressure from their top guys in the zone. Pass inside for the Quakers. Thorne in the paint, and the shot was altered and no good. Rough Riders coming down with it. They can pull it within one or tie it with a 3-pointer. Then drives, kicks it out. 3-pointer on the baseline. It is good for Noah. And that's a tie ball game, 23-all with just over 2 minutes left to go. And Franklin called with a double dribble, kind of palming. And Craig Jackson's seen enough. He has Jamari Jackson Kins, along with, I believe, Marshawn Hillard. No, Marshawn was in already.
Again, this is looking like the last Roosevelt game against Cleveland. They stay with what they do.
Yeah.
They withstood that Franklin run, and if this shot goes, they're going to have a lead.
Yeah, Lynn kicked it out, but to Kuzan, but Kuzan, his 3-pointer was all air ball. Scramble for the loose ball, and it looks like the Rough Riders will maintain possession. So 15 on the shot clock. Tie ball game, 23-23, 1:46 left to go, and some moisture on the floor. So we're going to have a timeout on the floor. officials timeout while they get that spot dried up.
Roosevelt walked this team back down and tied this ball game. At this point, Franklin's going to have to again try to eliminate the mistakes, try to eliminate the turnovers, get good shots, and get back into their offense.
Yeah, they really are going to have to do that, no doubt. And the Quakers started off hot and taking advantage of some Roosevelt errors. And they've gotten away a little bit from what got them the initial lead, and that is, again, just contesting everything on the defensive end and then trying to get out and run on the offensive end. So we'll see if Coach Jackson talking with his team, we'll see if they can implement his suggestions.
I would call them more than suggestions.
So the Rough Riders with the ball. And drive on the baseline and losing the ball, not able to hold on to it is Sam Villa. And he's questioning the referee, saying, "Hey, man, I got hit," but the referee disagrees, and the ball will go over to the Quakers. Inbounding, Marshawn Hillard hands it off to Marcel Jones. Jones will bring it across himself. Finds Harris open on the right baseline. Harris takes it toward the paint. The little jumper hits the front iron and rolls in. Amari Harris with the bucket, giving the Quakers a 2-point lead, 25-23, 1:23 left to go here in the first half. Jalen Dollar with the ball, driving on the left sideline, the far sideline away from us, and a blocking foul. So pretty clean game so far. Not a lot of fouls called, only 14 fouls on Franklin, 3 on Roosevelt. We're just a minute 17 away from halftime. And, great drive by Petrovic. He inbounded the ball, got to Dollar. Dollar got back to him, cutting to the basket, but Petrovic could not finish on the other end. The Quakers in a strong drive to the basket, and I believe they're going to say the bucket is good. That's the freshman, Marcel Jones.
I'm glad they gave him the bucket on that move. It would be a shame if they called that on the ground.
Floor. Yeah. So Marcel Jones gets the bucket, a strong move to the basket, using that frame of his. He's well-built young man, only a freshman.
Took the hit and still got the ball off.
That's right.
Give that man the bucket.
And the three-pointer, the old-fashioned way. At the line, the free throw is good. So with that three-point play, Marcel Jones gives the Quakers a 28-23 lead. 1 minute left to go here in the first half. Three-pointer, no good. That was who's on, and inbounds, fight for the ball. Rough Riders get it back, but they're going to say that on the sideline, Petrovic was out of bounds. And so the Quakers will take over. 50.8 left to go, 30 on the shot clock. So a 20-second difference between the Quakers shot clock and the game clock.
If you're Roosevelt, you got this game tied. You don't want to let Franklin walk away out of here with a 10-point lead at halftime. If you're Franklin, this is exactly what you wanted to do.
Yeah, good point. Pass over to Harris. Harris being patient outside the three-point line. Over to Jones on top. Again, Franklin looking for an opening in that 2-3 zone. Baseline, 11-10 on the shot clock. Jackson Kins in the corner to Jones. Jones drives the baseline. And now Harris with it, drives it. And Harris, they're going to call him for a travel. So good drive to the basket. The shot clock was winding down. It was on 1. And Amari Harris trying to make a play, and they call him for a travel going into the paint. And this is a young ball team, too. Amari Harris, only a sophomore, for Craig Jackson. So 15 on the shot clock, or rather on the game clock for the Rough Riders. The pass, and it's going to be knocked out of bounds. Sam Lynn driving in the paint, trying to pass it, and one of the Quakers knocked it out of bounds. So some jockeying going on between Sam Villa and Emmanuel Brandon. The referee didn't see it. I saw it. And shot goes up, no good, but Petrovic is there for the tip-in to knock it down. And that's going to do it. The Quakers won't get a shot off. So at the half, a well-played first half, Franklin goes into the locker room leading it by a score of 28-25. So after one half, well-played ball game, as I said, not many fouls, only 8 total fouls on both teams, 4 on each team here in the first half. And if you just joined us, this is game number 2 of our doubleheader. The Franklin girls, a winner, held off a late surge by the Rough Riders, and the Franklin varsity girls, a winner here tonight. And right now at the half, Franklin leading Roosevelt by a score of 28-25. A lot of other action going on here around not only the city, but the state as well. So I'm going to throw it over to Daniel Bellis, and I'll be back in about 9 minutes to bring you half number 2 here of Franklin and Roosevelt, with the Quakers leading the Rough Riders 28-25 at the half.
Not to mention a lot going on in the city for Martin Luther King Day here at Rainier Avenue Radio. We'll be doing events all weekend long, and that'll start tomorrow from noon until 5 for the Martin Luther King Jr. official Holiday Vendor Festival at the Columbia City Theater. Broadcast right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. There will be black business vendors as well as open mic, live performances, and all that on your community radio station, Rainier Avenue Radio. Tune in tomorrow from noon until 5 p.m. for the Holiday Vendor Festival at the Columbia City Theater. And you can come and see us in person there as well. Noon until 5, Columbia City Theater, Holiday Vendor Festival tomorrow on Rainier Avenue Radio. And then Martin Luther King festivities continue the day after that, as there will be a Young Leaders event on Sunday from 2 until 4 p.m. They're the official intern group for the Seattle Martin Luther King March and Rally will be hosting this event on Rainier Avenue Radio. You can only listen in live online, so check it out this Sunday, 2 to 4 p.m., the Young Leaders event for Martin Luther King Jr. And then on Monday, it's the 40th annual Seattle Martin Luther King Jr. March and Rally going live at 10:30 a.m. early in the morning, interrupting your church services right here on Monday, not Sunday, 10:30 a.m. on Rainier Avenue Radio, the 40th annual March and Rally. Yes, we'll cover the entire march for you. The entire rally for you, and then after that, we will cover the march. Yes, and we'll be covering from different legs in the march as well. So we're saying we're covering it like the Macy's Holiday Parade. So you'll see all the action, all the marching going on after that, and we'll be live until 2 p.m. So that's 10:30 until 2 right here on Rainier Avenue Radio this Monday, the 40th annual Martin Luther King Jr. March and Rally on your community radio station, Rainier Avenue Radio. We will have broadcasting for you more on your community radio station, more Metro basketball next Friday when West Seattle's girls and boys teams will visit Rainier Beach. It will also feature the number 4 Rainier Beach boys in that game as they host West Seattle, who recently fell out of the boys' top 20, unfortunately, with girls at 7 p.m. and boys at 8:30. Beach right now is at Eastside Catholic, and we are awaiting some type of score from that game right there on. But in Metro action, O'Day taking that one against Bishop Blanchette, 76-59. It moves O'Day at number 7 in the state to 10-2 on the year. They're still in first place in the Mountain as they lead Seattle Prep and Eastside Catholic in the league. So by a game and a game and a half over Eastside Catholic. So in that one right there, a close battle, as we always expect in the Mountain between O'Day Prep and Eastside Catholic. But also going on in the state, a lot of games here in the Metro League were actually canceled today. Garfield was expected to play Seattle Chief Self. That has been canceled. West Seattle versus Cleveland was canceled, as well as Seattle Prep and Lincoln also canceled. Three games right there, all not happening. But Nathan Hale is at Ballard, 1-6. Nathan Hale is at 4-6. Ballard. At 9:13 p.m. on your community radio station. It's Daniel Bellis. As you can see me on your screen there, we are broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, the Rainier Avenue Radio app, which you can download for free on iPhone and Android users, and also on the Rainier Avenue Radio website, rainieravenueradio.world. Click on a player in the upper right corner there for to listen to us anytime 24/7. We got nighttime programming, we got daytime programming, sports, politics, talk, features, music of all different genres. Just look at this this hodgepodge of shows that we have right here. Just all these flyers. Look at all these different shows right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. All of these are community-run shows, all different types of genres and topics and all that, and including a show from your own Metro League on Thursdays at 7 p.m. This week, former O'Day star Michelle Powell of O'Day football joined the game, who's now a Washington Husky, and he gave his entire story about walking on as a walk-on in Washington and making the team and all that. So every Thursday, check out Metro Sports Weekly on Rainier Avenue Radio Thursdays from 7 until 8 p.m. We are a few minutes away from your second half of action, but Gig Harbor being number 8 knocked off by Timberline 60-57 in the final minutes there by score of 3 points there. Number 17 Timberline knocks off Gig Harbor, giving Gig Harbor their first loss of the season, 11-1 on the year. University at number 10, an easy win over Lewis and Clark, 62-47. University is now 8-4 on the season. And number 19, Kelso, knocking off a 2A opponent of WF West, 64-52 on that game right there. And O'Day cruising to an easy win over Bishop Blanchette, 76-59, although it was very close in the first quarter, but O'Day dominating all the way after that. As we take a look at what else is going on in the state. Well, actually, while I catch my breath here, let's let Rick talk for a minute here as we get to your second half of action on your community radio station, Rainier Avenue Radio.
Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate that. And, you mentioned Michelle Powell, who was O'Day grad and now out at the University of Washington, defensive back for the Huskies, will be a guest on Metro Sports Weekly. And his dad and uncle, Daryl and Kevin Powell, were a great 1-2 punch. His dad, quarterback, his uncle, fullback for one of the great Garfield teams back in 1976 with Bruce Harrell, our mayor, who was the linebacker, and that team played what many say the greatest football game played at Metro in the Metro League at Memorial Stadium. I believe it was 4 overtimes. I remember I was in junior high school going to that game, and I tell you what, it was packed, standing room only. Probably one of the biggest crowds not probably one of the biggest crowd for Metro for high school game there. Also want to remind you, you can listen to me Monday night on Monday Night Sports. My guest this Monday will be Bob Condotta from the Seattle Times. And finally connected with Bob, and we're going to have him on Monday and going to kind of recap the Seahawks season and more than recap the season, really talk about what's next for this team. How do they get back up to that elite level of one of the teams that is a perennial playoff contender? All of the ingredients seem to be there. Certainly look like it the last couple of games, and with the emergence of Rashad Penny. So we'll talk to Bob Condotta, get his take on what may happen in the offseason. A lot of talk about, will Pete Carroll be back? Will Russell Wilson be back? And so we'll hear from Bob Condotta, and he'll give us his take on that. Right now, we're about ready to go into the second half. Franklin leading Roosevelt by a score of 28-25. The Quakers will take the ball out right in front of us. Jamari Jackson Kins with the ball.
What are you going to do with Bob, Rick? He goes against the grain sometimes. I like his articles.
Yeah.
I do like it, but he goes against the grain sometimes.
Yeah, so we're going to kind of get a sense and see what he's saying about, what this team may do, what the franchise may do. A lot of people feeling like, are things getting stale? Do they need to make some major moves? Time will tell. We'll see. So the Quakers, a long shot on the baseline. Amari Harris, a three-pointer from the left baseline. Rolls around, falls out, so no bucket. Rough Riders with the ball, trailing 28-25 here at the start of the second quarter. Or second half, I should say, forgive me. Quakers again with that contesting defense, really pressuring the Rough Riders. 18 on the shot clock. Rough Riders are trying to find room. Petrovic with the drive down the middle and won't go, but he's going to be fouled. So I tell you what, we saw that against Cleveland, 6'4", Danilo Petrovic, and not afraid to put the ball on the floor. He can drive to the basket and shoot the jumper, as well as a good defender. So he is fouled. He'll go to the line for 2 shots. First free throw up and no good. And by the way, he led one of the 2 top scorers for Roosevelt at the half. Jalen Dollar had 7, Petrovic with 6, along with Sam Villa, a couple of three-pointers. Second free throw up and rolls around, and it is good for Petrovic. So 1 of 2, making it a 28-26 ball game. On the other side of the court, Marcel Jones at Franklin with 7 points in the first half. Amari Harris had 5, and a few other guys had 4 points. So Franklin, a very balanced scoring in that first half, I should say.
And that's what they're going to need to continue to get is contributions from everybody off that deep bench that they have.
Inbounds pass goes to... Oh,
now that helps as
Jamari
well.
Jackson Kids with a three-pointer.
That helps.
He stepped up the lefty, and now on the defensive end, and Amari Harris going for the steal, and he's going to be called for the foul, reaching in on Sam Villa. So the Rough Riders, a new 30, taken out in the backcourt. And the Quakers there pressuring the ball, get across the timeline. Villa with the ball. Inside to Petrovic. Petrovic in the paint, kicks it out. Jumper by Jackson, won't go. Washington, I should say. And fight for the rebound, and I believe they're going to call a foul on the Quakers. Yep. And the referee's going to say he was shooting the ball, Tony. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, one of the other referees coming in, I think, is saying, wait a minute. So they're going to give it to him. Oh, man.
Okay.
Ooh, Tone, I don't see that one. But Petrovic called or gets the foul. They say he is in the act of shooting. So
that was quite a shot.
Yeah, his first free throw up and in. I mean, he had the ball. He had got the ball. Was down by his by his waist and fighting for it. Second free throw up and in. That makes it a 3-point ball game. 31-28. Franklin leading. 6:30 left to go here in the third quarter. Harris with it, driving now, coming out and stepping out, resetting the offense. Now driving, attacking, and he's going to draw the foul. So good job by Amari Harris, kind of bringing the ball out, resetting, and then challenging the guy guarding him, saying, hey, this guy can't guard me, and making a strong move to the basket. He's fouled, so the Quakers will have it. Baseline inbounds, new 30 on the shot clock. Inbounds, the ball is hit and knocked out of bounds by Roosevelt, so Franklin will maintain possession or maintain. They got possession, you know what I mean. All right, inbounds out to Harris. Harris with it on top of the key, finds Jones on the right wing, outside the three-point line, wing back over to Harris, cross court. Harris now again outside the three-point line, 20 on the shot clock. Over to Jackson Kins. Jackson Kins to Brannon. Back out top. So again, the Quakers trying to penetrate this zone defense, trying to figure out how they can make something happen. 5-4 on the shot clock, 3. And the fourth shot by Harris and hits the side of the backboard. That's going to be a shot clock violation. So good defense by the Rough Riders, forcing the Quakers into a bad shot. And it's a shot clock violation. So Rough Riders take it over. 31-28, Franklin leading. 5:45 left to go in the third quarter. And the steal, that is Jackson Kins, and then knocked off. And let's see, I think it was hit out by the Rough Riders. So taken out right in front of us, Jaden Thorne. Out to Marcel Jones. Jones in backcourt, now comes across the timeline. Driving to his left, kicks it out to Jackson Kins. Kins spins into the paint, and he's going to be fouled. And let's see if they say he was shooting or on the floor. more of a shot on this one, Tony, than the last one for Roosevelt. They do say he was in the act of shooting, so Jamari Jackson Kins will go to the line. He'll have 2 shots. 5:25 left to go here in the third quarter. Franklin leading. First shot is good. Franklin leading with that first free throw make by Jackson Kins. Quakers leading by 4, 32-28. Checking in for the Quakers, Desmond Brown replaces number 5, Jaden Thorne. Second free throw up and in for the lefty. So knocks both down, giving the Quakers a 33-28 lead. And they're back in that full-court press. And they knock 5 seconds off the shot clock. And the jumper from the corner, no good. Sky for the rebound, not able to get it. The Quakers get the rebound there. Emmanuel Brandon using that big body gets the rebound. Now Amari Harris driving into the paint, and they're going to say a foul on the floor before the shot. So Amari Harris, I'll tell you, Tony, forcing the action and really, and he's not happy with the call. He said, come on, I was shooting it, but they don't give it to him. But again, forcing that action and causing the defense to make a decision, and that time he drew the foul. Checking in for the Quakers, number 21, Kayvon Bias. Bias, a senior wingman. And he'll take it out. And out to Harris. Harris with the ball over to Jackson Kins. Jackson Kins backing it out. Now dribbling outside the three-point line over to Brandon. Brandon to Harris. 16 on the shot clock. Jackson Kins, three-pointer from the left baseline, and it is good.
Has scored all of the points for the Quakers in this quarter, I believe.
He's got 8. And they were leading it 28-25 at the half, now leading 36-28. And that defense picking up the Quakers. And let's see, what do they call? They say, I think a foul. Yeah, they're going to call a foul on the Quakers. Official looking to find the number. And they're going to call the foul on Kayvon Bias, who just checked in. And checking in for the Quakers. One big guy for the other, number 13, Carmonte Banks, replacing Emmanuel Brandon.
Franklin, clearly a little better when they are chaotic, when they're pressuring on defense, when they're getting the ball in the open court to get buckets.
Yeah, they really are. Danilo Petrovic, well defended, but he just, regardless of the defense, drove into the paint and banked it off the glass for the bucket to make it a 6-point ball game, 36-30. Quakers over the Rough Riders.
Roosevelt's not going to go away. They're going to continue to play good defense, and they're going to continue to work the offense. Good block there by Petrovic. And
Bias driving the baseline, and Petrovic said, no way. Quakers get it back. Three-pointer by Harris won't go. And fight for the rebound, loose ball, and boy, great hustle by the Quakers, but knocked out of bounds. You had a couple Quakers getting on the floor there, both Banks and Bias. And a great hustle, but it goes out to the Rough Riders. So the Rough Riders with the ball, trailing 36-30 with 3:45 left to go here in the third quarter. And Franklin's defense causes a turnover. And Jackson Kins with the bucket. Takes it all the way on the steal. Giving the Quakers an 8-point lead, 38-30. Tell you what, that full court pressure is causing some problems for the Rough Riders. On the baseline, though, they get it, and I believe, let's see, they called it a two-pointer? Yep, two-pointer. That was, I believe it was number 11. Oh, number 3. Thank you. So Sam Villa with the two-pointer. Quakers with the miss on the other end, but I believe a foul call. So Sam Villa's bucket getting the Rough Riders, pulling the Rough Riders, I should say, to within 6. And Craig Jackson on the inbounds play wants to call a timeout. So 3:11 left to go in the third quarter. Franklin leading Roosevelt by a score of 38-32. We talked about earlier some of the legends on the walls here of the gymnasium. So in addition to the state championship banners, and behind us you're looking at boys basketball state champions, 1954, 1994, 1995, 2003, 2006, and 2009, in addition to some cross-country, ultimate frisbee, track, state championship banners. But some of the individual players, the banners and then pictures of them. Rick Noji, the great high jumper, high jumped over 7 feet in high school. James Hasty went on a great career with the Kansas City Chiefs. Jesse Chapman, Peyton Siva, Shannon Smith, Bruce Jarvis, Alvin Snow went on to Eastern Washington, JT, Jason Terry, NBA championship with the Dallas Mavericks, and others.
And 37 years in the NBA.
Yeah.
37 years.
It seemed like it, wasn't it? And now, embarking on a coaching career, and his name has been mentioned. It'd be interesting to see if at some point Washington, if they make some changes out there, if they consider him on this end. Jackson Kins, jumper won't go, but the Quakers with the rebound. And the follow-up, and that was Desmond Brown. He's going to be fouled on the fadeaway. So Brown on the offensive glass.
I just have to give some props to Terry after going to Arizona and then coming into the NBA. And for a while, being a player who definitely forces will in the game, but continued to adjust his game and stayed in the league. And was always very valuable.
Always valuable, and just a real valuable member of that NBA championship team. So he's got his ring. Desmond Brown hits one of two free throws, making it a 7-point lead for the Quakers, 39-32. Pressure. Petrovic brings it across the timeline over to Lynn. Lynn driving into the paint, then kicks it out, but it's stolen. And loose ball now, but Quakers have possession. And that was a Bias over to Harris. Harris, little kiss off the window, won't go. Fighting for the rebound and keeping it alive. Great job by Banks. And the Quakers have a new 30. Jackson Kins over to Harris. Harris driving, off the window, won't go. Rebound to the Rough Riders. So Harris, I like the way the Quakers are attacking the basket,
creating chaos for Roosevelt.
Yeah, you want to knock those shots down, but foul called on the play, I believe, and so the Quakers. It looked like the Rough Riders got the rebound, but the Quakers, there's a foul on the play, and the Quakers now have possession. And Craig Jackson barking instructions to his ball club. And referees, two of the three referees at the top of the key discussing. So we'll see, waiting on what the discussion may be and what the call will be. Okay, so that's what I thought. I was surprised that they were giving it to the Franklin after a short conference. It's a black ball. So Roosevelt Rough Riders in their black, trimmed by the little green and a little bit of gold. Well, more green than gold. Quakers in their home white uniforms. Coming across is Sam Lynn. And then behind the back, showing some handles there. Got little handles, little skills. The junior, 6'1" junior guard. Lynn with the ball again. Looking over to Villa. Villa drives into the paint, now kicks it out. Ball's knocked out of bounds. Good play by Jamari Jackson Kids. And again, this Quaker defense, Tony, they are contesting everything. Shots, passes, making it a tough go for the Rough Riders. 8 seconds on the shot clock, inbounds, out to Lynn. Lynn driving the paint, little runner, and it's good. Sam Lynn, his first points of the ball game, and a little runner, and made the Quakers pay. 39-34, 1:30 left to go here in the third quarter. Quakers moving the ball around, driving. Oh, strong drive to the basket, won't go. That was Brown. Fight for the rebound, and looks like the Rough Riders came up with it and were fouled, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see what the call is. No, check that. They're going to say Brown on the drive, or on the rebound, I should say, and the putback try was fouled. So Desmond Brown, the senior post player, will go to the line. He'll have 2 shots, and a strong move by Brown. He just wasn't able to finish, but he stayed with it. And first free throw is up and in for Desmond Brown. So now 2 of 3 free throws on the game for Desmond Brown. So he's a big man that can knock down those frees. Those free throws, I should say. Second free throw up, hits the back iron, no good. And on the rebound, Jaden Thorne, they're going to say he pushed off. So Jaden Thorne called on the foul. He is not happy with the call. Looking up, one of those disgusted looks like, you got to be kidding me.
There was a reason why he got the ball wide open for the rebound.
Right. He wasn't in agreement with the call, but he kept his mouth shut. And they're going to call a carry on Sam Lynn. So kind of palm the ball, and the referee gives it right back to, I shouldn't say the referee. The referee made the call, but the Rough Riders give it right back to the Quakers. So 1:09 left to go here in the third quarter. Franklin leading by 6, 40-34 over the Roosevelt Rough Riders.
That wasn't a makeup call, was it? They don't have those.
No,
They
make them
don't have
talk.
those.
What are you talking about? Don't. Quakers driving, and they say a foul on the floor. It's interesting. I remember when I was working for the Sonics, and Nick Collison out of Kansas. I think probably Nick's third or fourth year, but still, maybe second or third year. But talked about how he said, man, he there were calls how the star players get the calls, inbound play and a drive to the basket and lay in by number 13, Carmonte Banks. A great play there, Carmonte Banks off the left side. And he said that the stars are getting the calls. He said there were times where he would go to cut off a guy driving in the paint, and before there was any contact, whistle blowing. And so that happens. Petrovic, up and under move off the glass. And Danilo Petrovic turning up here in the second half. Amari Harris, the three-pointer, won't go, but there for the rebound is Jackson Kins. Back out to Harris. Harris will try it again, short, but there for the rebound is Brown. And whistle blows, and I think a timeout. So the Franklin Quakers owning the offensive glass. 2 misses, 2 offensive rebounds. And so they'll have the ball with 20.7 left to go in the third quarter. Craig Jackson wants to call a timeout, draw up a play. So the shot clock turned off. It is a 30-second shot clock, so it'll be turned off. The last 20.7 seconds here in quarter number 3. Franklin leading 42-36. So, Tony, a lot going on this weekend for MLK. You want to tell our listeners a little bit about that?
Well, starting off on Saturday, we've got our Mlk Vendor Festival. It's called a festival for a reason. We've sold out. We've got a house full of vendors, the most we can have under COVID restrictions. Black businesses selling their one-of-a-kind, unique items. There's clothes, there's jewelry, there's food. There's just a bunch of different things that you're going to find at this event from noon to 5. And then we're also going to have performances, and then anyone can come down. It's an open mic and share your feelings on the stage and over the airwaves about how the life and legacy of Dr. King has impacted your life.
Nice. Now, I will say this open mic, if you are planning to perform, let's make sure if you're going to sing, make sure you can sing, because I don't want to turn into Chuck Barris and have the little your gong. You got the little hook is going to pull you off. So the Quakers inbound at 20 on the shot clock. We'll see what the play is that Coach Jackson called. Bias with the ball and dribbles off his foot out of bounds, and so not able to get into the play that Coach Jackson called. Now he's having hands up on the defense here. 13.8 left to go in the quarter. Franklin leading 42-36. They led 28-25 at the half, so have extended that 3-point halftime lead, doubled it to 6 points right now. And almost still Quakers, the defense, and they are just ball hawking. And Danilo falling down and throws the ball up, and Bruce Richardson, Roosevelt coach, not happy. Looking at the referee like trying to plead the case. He's like, oh, my goodness. So his guy, a lot of contact there, and threw the ball as he was falling down. No call. So that will do it for quarter number 3. I'm going to throw it to Daniel Bellis to update you on scores, and we'll be back for the fourth quarter here in just a moment with Franklin leading Roosevelt by score 42-36.
Daniel Bellis, in this update, can you tell us where these teams are in their respective divisions as well?
Yeah, definitely. Why don't we focus on that real quick? But Franklin's actually sitting in second place in the Valley right now at a 2-4 in league, 3-4 overall. Obviously, Garfield running away with the Valleys this year, but Franklin's sitting about a half a game over Ingram, but they're still on their way to making the Metro Championship bracket, but it's because they're in a very weak division. Both Ingram, Hale, and Cleveland between them have won by basically 3 games each. 3 games all together. And then in the Sound, Roosevelt sitting in third place in the Sound at 5-3 in their conference, 5-3 overall. They haven't played a non-league game yet. But they will be doing one tomorrow against 2A opponent Clover Park. But Rainier Beach and West Seattle own the Sound right now. Obviously, Beach undefeated. West Seattle sitting in second at 6-1 in league. Roosevelt's 5-3 in league. So they are about a game and a half out of that second place and having that opportunity to move on to the Metro Championship bracket.
This is going to be a big game for the Quakers. Again, I'm being a bit of a homer, but the Quakers can hold on and pull this off. This will be a big win for them.
Yeah, will be a big game. Quakers have the inbounds here on the fourth quarter, leading 42-36, so they'll move the ball around, looking for an opening in this Roosevelt defense, and Rough Riders switching from the zone to a man-to-man. Drive to the basket. Nice drive underneath the shot by Bias. Won't go. Fight for the rebound. And I think Bias is going to be called for a foul. And so turnover. Yep, Bias called on the foul. So turnover, and that makes it Roosevelt ball. 7:41, just the start of the fourth quarter. And the Quakers kind of in a 1-2-2. A little bit of pressure. Not a lot. Not a full court press. Really picking up at half court. Maybe looking for the trap. Moving the ball around, baseline jumper, side of the backboard won't go, but there for the rebound is Sam Lynn. And Sam Lynn knocks it down to make it a 4-point ball game, 42-38. Quakers now going against this man defense. So Coach Bruce Richardson switching up his defense.
Franklin's going to have to find somebody other than Jackson Kins to get some points this quarter. I mean, maybe he can do it again, but.
Yeah, they're going to have to spread the scoring out. Harris, baseline jumper, won't go. So Harris has forced a number of shots and just not getting it to go down for him here in the second half. Harris had 5 points in the first half, I should say, a three-pointer and a bucket, but has just not been able to find any success here in the second half. So foul on the Quakers in backcourt, but that was their 17th foul. So going to the line is Dante Washington, shooting 1-1 for the Rough Riders. First shot is up, and it is good, so he'll be awarded with the second shot. That pulls the score to within, Rough Riders, I should say, to within 3, 42-39. Dante Washington, couple dribbles. Second shot is up and good, making it a 2-point ball game.
I like the composure of the Roosevelt Rough Riders. They never seem like they're getting rattled and they're going to lose control. They just keep playing their game.
Yeah, certainly indicative of their coach, and they force a turnover on this end. And the Quakers... unforced error there to a certain degree, and so it looked like coming off the bench, checking back in is the freshman phenom Marcel Jones. Jones had 7 points to lead the Quakers in the first half, has not scored here in the second half yet. Across the timeline, the Rough Riders ball is knocked loose and saved by the Quakers almost, and great play, but an injured player down. So tell you what, hustling was Desmond Brown to throw the ball, threw it up, and he had a player streaking to the basket, and player was not able, I believe that was, if I'm not mistaken, it was Jamari Jackson Kids, and was able to tip the ball back to a teammate who was on the ground, and I believe then Franklin called a timeout, so they'll keep possession.
Another of those loose ball hustle plays from Franklin that'll keep him in the game.
Well, and again, I've said this a couple of times, but really it reflects Coach Craig Jackson, and just a no-nonsense, get it done, focus type of guy. And he has the talent on his squad this year where he can, kind of run what he wants to run. And those guys are really reflection of him out there. No quit hustle. Craig obviously went to Roosevelt and part of a state championship team there. Gary Gardner was part of that team as well. And I think I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I think Craig is a couple of years behind me, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. That was hustle on both ends. A great save in the backcourt to flip that ball into the front court.
Yeah.
And then another great save to stop the ball from going out of bounds, and heady play to get their timeout.
Yeah, exactly. Player on the floor, I believe that was Bias on the floor, if I'm not mistaken. Bias will take it out. Inbound, 15 on the shot clock. He finds Marcel Jones. Jones brings it out to the front court, or to the top of the key, I should say. Over to Jackson Kins, 7 on the shot clock. Driving into the paint. The big guy forces it up, won't go, gets his own rebound. Shot is blocked. Big guy being Desmond Brown. Shot is blocked.
He put that ball on the ground.
Yep.
And bounced it, and that gave the team the chance to recover. Should have just went straight back up.
Yep. Lynn on the other end, three-pointer, draws nothing but air. Rebound comes down to Marcel Jones. He's pushed out of bounds by Jackson Huntington. And Huntington said, hey, I didn't do anything. But, yeah, young man, you did put hands on him. So that is the 17th foul on the Rough Riders. So both teams now in the bonus. 6:08 left to go in the ball game. So from this point forward, each team will be shooting right now 1-1. And when they get to the 10th foul, it'll be the double bonus.
Rick, we've seen this before where free throws become important.
Yes, absolutely. Jones, again, the freshman, I like his poise, Tony. He plays like a veteran out there and hits the first free throw, so he'll be awarded another one, front end of the 1-1. Bounces the ball, spins it, shot is up, and it is good. So Marcel Jones extends that Franklin lead to 4 points, now 44-40 with 6:05 left to go in the ball game. Franklin back with that pressure defense and forces the Rough Riders to throw it away. And the Quakers will get it. And I tell you what, that's what that pressure does. Number one, took the Rough Riders about 7 seconds to get across the timeline, and then trying to force it down on the baseline, threw it away. So the Quakers with the ball.
When you want to run your offense, you don't want to be disrupted.
No. Pass inside to Brown, and Brown fields it, and then he is fouled as he catches the pass, so he'll go to the line. The big guy, Desmond Brown, senior post player, checking back in for the Rough Riders, number 3, Sam Villa, and number 10, Danilo Petrovic.
And Franklin is just, we're going to make you uncomfortable.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, again, I love that about Craig Jackson. That's the way he played, and it's like we're going to contest everything. Free throw up and in, so Brown does not get a second one because he did not hit the front end of that 1-1. So it remains a 4-point lead for the Quakers, 44-40 with 5:38 left to go in the ball game. Sam Lynn, nice move, takes it to the basket. Some contact there and a late whistle, but I believe they're going to call the foul on Carmonte Banks.
I don't disagree with the call. I just disagree that you wait and think about it and then make the call.
Yeah. There was definitely contact on the body, but yeah, make the call. You're there, blow that whistle and don't leave any question. So Lynn, his first free throw hits the front iron, no good. Again, Tony talked about taking advantage free throws. Both teams here missing. This is a two-shot foul, but on the other end, 1-1, and Brown not able to convert. And Lynn makes 1 of 2. And checking back in for the Quakers, number 1, Amari Harris, sophomore wing player, more of a guard. Quakers facing a little pressure and errant pass, and it's going to be stolen by Dante Washington. So the Rough Riders down by 3 with the steal. And now Dollar with it across the timeline. Dollar over to Lynn. Lynn guarded by Jackson Kins. Lynn back over to Dollar. 12 on the shot clock. Rough Riders trying to penetrate this Franklin defense. And Lynn's going to take a three-pointer with about 2 on the shot clock. Won't go, but there for the rebound is Washington. And Washington in the paint. He's going to be called for travel. So Franklin dodged a bullet there. They gave up. The offensive rebound. And, as I was looking, Tony, at Jalen Dollar for Roosevelt, and I see one Cameron Dollar across a very unique name for the Husky coach.
I was wondering about that.
CLU, that is his son. And there it is.
Jackson
the young man,
Kins.
Jamari Jackson Kins for 3 points to give the Quakers a 47-41 lead. 4:35 left to go. On the other end, baseline jumper by Villa won't go. Fighting for the rebound. Brown comes down with it. Over to Jackson Kins. Jackson Kins, a nice step around move.
I've got your offense.
Jamari Jackson Kins. 5 quick points gives the Quakers an 8-point lead, 49-41. Petrovic over to Lynn, gets it across the timeline. Rough Riders trying to penetrate this Franklin defense, and they're going to call a reach-around foul on the freshman, Marcel Jones. I keep saying freshman, Tony, because I'm just so impressed with the young man. And he is...
He gave them the lift that they needed points-wise until they got some points out of Jackson Kins.
Yeah.
I was just listening to Coach Jackson right before that play saying, don't reach. And then he reached.
Right. So just looking at Jamari Jackson Kins, 15 points here in the second half, Tony. So he has carried this ball club being the Quakers. And Petrovic at the line misses his first free throw. He'll have another one. It is up, and it is good. Makes it a, waiting on the scoreboard to change, 6-point ball game, and errant pass stolen by Dollar. Dollar, again, only a sophomore. Shot 3-point by the Rough Riders won't go, and Marcel Jones with the rebound brings it across himself, spinning in the paint. Now he's going to bring it back out over to Thorne. Thorne looking out to Harris. Harris with the ball, 13 on the shot clock, backs it out over to Jackson Kins. Jackson Kins only a junior. Now Jones with the ball. Double team, drives baseline. Strong move, and he's going to draw the foul. He's going to go to the line for 2. So I tell you what, a strong move. I talk about the poise of this freshman. And with the shot clock running down, he took on a couple players, drove to the basket, drew the foul. He'll go to the line. He'll have 2 shots.
And you talk about his poise. They gave him the ball with time running out. We're going to put this in your hands, and you make a good decision. And again, hits the big free throw.
First free throw up and in. So that is Marcel Jones. So Jones had 7 in the first half to lead the Quakers. Now there's his 3rd point and hits the 2nd free throw. So 4 points here, all in the 4th quarter at the free throw line. And Petrovic goes down on the floor, and I don't think a call was made. He's not happy, but looks like he may have slipped. Checking in for the Rough Riders, number 11 is Rylan Bashore. So as they clean the floor, and believe it or not, Tony, no towel here. And so it's like, okay, let's. The referee using his shoes to get it. It is what it is. Rough Riders across the timeline, trailing 51-43. Jones going for the steal, doesn't get it. Dollar has it. Dollar kicks it out to Lynn, down the baseline. Jumper won't go. That was Kuzan, who's hit a couple of threes, but could not knock that one down. Loose ball goes out of bounds off the Quakers, so the Rough Riders will keep possession. 16 on the shot clock. It should reset, I would think. Yeah, it did reset to 30. Okay. Again on the baseline, jumper for 3 won't go. That was Villa. And ball is knocked out of bounds, and I believe off the Quakers. So Quakers giving the Rough Riders a couple of chances here, Tony. You got to secure that defensive rebound and keep them off the offensive glass. And in this case, not that the Rough Riders got an offensive boards, but the Quakers have not been able to maintain the possession once they get it, and it's been knocked out of bounds.
Well, Roosevelt needs to get points out of this now after they've
they have to take advantage of it.
Kept this possession alive a couple times.
Dollar kick out to Lynn. Lynn back over to Dollar. Dollar on the baseline. Into the paint, kicks it over to Kuzan. Kuzan, the three-pointer won't go, but there for the follow is Petrovic, I believe.
You know, if I'm not mistaken, 5 different attempts.
Yeah.
In this possession.
Yeah. Yes. They had 3, and then the miss there. Petrovic missed the shot, then got his own rebound, kind of tipped in his own miss.
Mm-hmm.
So that's making the score with 2:38 left to go. Makes the score, I should say, 51-45 Franklin. So again, Tony, looking at some of the other banners, the one jersey retired here, the number 31. That's Jason Terry, who was here from 91 to 95. And I mentioned JT. I stopped at him. Ryan Phillips, a great football career, went up to the Canadian League, had a great career there. The great Chicago Cub, Ron Santo.
Come on.
And going back some years now, Fred Hutchinson. So a lot of people probably don't know that Fred Hutch, and you have the Fred Hutch Cancer Center, but Fred Hutchinson, great baseball player here at Franklin. And then looking on the other side, you have Bill Wright, one of the first African-American golf players to make headway, and he is recognized up at Jefferson Golf Course. The one and only Terry Metcalf. Oh, let me tell you. Man, Metcalf was something special here. Went on to junior college, and then I believe Long Beach State, if I'm not mistaken, and great career with the Cardinals, where he had his best years. Aaron Pierce, Trent Johnson, Rhonda Smith will finish out the list in a little bit here. But back in the action now, the Quakers with the ball and a 6-point lead, 51-45. 2:30 left to go in the ball game. The freshman Marcel Jones, and the pass in, and not able to handle the pass is Carmonte Banks. Goes out of bounds. So turnover. Again, unforced error, if you will. Craig Jackson not happy on the sideline, pacing. So the Quakers providing some backcourt pressure. takes the Rough Riders about 6 seconds to get it across. Now 19 on the shot clock. The shot is up and no good. Fighting for the rebound. And Marcel Jones with the rebound. He'll bring it across himself. Looking up over to Jackson Kins. Back to Jones. Jones guarded by Dollar. Two young players that are going to make their mark here in the Metro League for the next 3 years or so. Jones being a freshman and Dollar a sophomore. Foul out on the floor. But again, that is a 10th team foul. So Jamari Jackson Kins will go to the line. He said there's only 2 free throws that he's taken. And he'll have 2 free throws here. The double bonus. His first one is up and the lefty is good. Checking back in for the Rough Riders, the guy who had a couple of threes in the first half, Noah Couzon. And Jackson Kins, his second free throw, up and in. So Jackson Kins, 17 points here in the second half. And three-pointer, and man that just checked in, Noah, hits his third 3 of the ball game on the left baseline. 1:42 left to go in the ball game. Franklin leading at 53-48. As Kevin Calabro would say, they have the lead and the leather. As coming off the three-pointer by Noah.
He
Couzon.
probably had that same conversations that Mickens had with Smiley. You know why I'm putting you in the game.
Yes, indeed. The freshman can get it done. Legend Smiley. Oh, it's so smooth and looking so much like his daddy who went on to USC. So, again, I mentioned Trent Johnson. Trent Johnson back coaching. I believe he's at Cal State Northridge, if I'm not mistaken. They had some issues there in the program, and so the entire coaching staff was and I don't know the latest, but they were suspended, basically, and under investigation. And so brought in a whole new kind of at last minute. Trent was asked to come in and head coach there. And as you know, a Franklin grad here, 74, if I'm not mistaken. And went on and was at UW and Stanford. Started at Reno as a head coach, and Stanford, LSU. Great coaching career, and spent some time after Rick Pitino left a year at Louisville. So Trent Johnson on the wall. We mentioned Paulo Banchero, who could very likely be the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. His mom, Rhonda Smith. Also Aaron Brooks, Mario Bailey, Corey Dillon, John White, and Bryce Taylor. So a number of the stars here. Quakers with the ball and pressure from the Rough Riders in backcourt. And Quakers get across the timeline. Marcel Jones with the ball. Over to Harris. And they're going to call a reach on Danilo Petrovic. And Tony, I don't know. I mean, there wasn't much contact there. He hit the ball, but they said he got some of the hand as well. So going to the line will be Amari Harris. He'll have 2 shots in the double bonus.
Corey Dillon was a dude that if you could tackle him from behind, you were probably happier than running into him.
Oh, my God. I remember that one season with the University of Washington. He set the NC2A record, I believe it was the first half, one half rushed over 200 yards. And just a phenomenal career. Harris hits 1 of 2 free throws, giving the Quakers a 54-48 lead with 1:25 left to play. But, yeah, Corey Dillon was a load and a great career with the Patriots. On the end, Dollar with the shot won't go. Rebound to the Quakers. And coming across the timeline, Marcel Jones. Now we'll back it out. And Amari Harris. And now Quakers playing keep away. And I'll tell you what, the Rough Riders is going to have to force the action. And you got to get on it. And the Quakers moving the ball around now. Under a minute left. The Quakers leading by 6, 54-48. And barring any miracle here, it looks like the Quakers will walk away with the win. So with the shot clock winding down, Jamari Jackson Kins just throws the ball up, gets a shot off, hits the top of the backboard out of bounds. Craig Jackson not happy with that. Craig Jones, one of Craig Jackson's teammates out at Roosevelt.
And that guy had hops. Craig Jones, he could jump out of the building.
Oh, come on. And had a jumper. Jalen Dollar with the drive to the basket and the bucket, making it a 6-point ball game, 30 seconds left to go. Quakers playing keep away again. And, the Rough Riders going to have to force a foul here. There's about a 5-second difference between the shot clock, and they're going to call a foul. So Craig Jackson trying to call a timeout. Now he calls a timeout, but I believe a foul on the play. So Marcel Jones will go to the line. 19.1 left to play, so the shot clock will go off. Quakers leading by 4. Check that now. The scoreboard, they added that last bucket, 54-50. Jalen Dollar on the other end. Nice drive to the cup to get the basket. So again, 19.1 left to go in the ball game. Franklin leading 54-50, and they'll go to the line having 2 shots.
Back in the era when you mentioned Craig Jones, Mercer and Frank Ahern. Mercer had phenomenal, at the time, junior high school is what we called it, teams over there.
And they
fed that Cleveland program, which had some outstanding high school teams.
Yeah. You had Jawan Oldham, James Woods, Carl Irvin, the Carter brothers. I mean, they were just, they were loaded. It's interesting because I think Mercer, if I'm not mistaken, Tony, had like a 5-year undefeated run.
Yeah.
And I want to say it was like 68-0. And then my 9th grade year, and we had a team. There was Brian Buchanan, D. Davis, Peter Cormier, Peter Benson, Peter Cormier. Man, we were loaded. Eugene Bruce. Our starting lineup was across the front was 6'5", 6'3", 6'3", and then Peter and I were the starting guards. And we won our first 4 games to get the streak up to 72, and then we lost. Okay. Anyway, Jackson Kins, I won't talk more about that, but Jackson Kins misses the first free throw, second free throw up, rolls around, it was halfway down the cylinder, then came out, but there for the rebound was Banks to put it back in to give the Quakers a 6-point lead with 12, 11, 10 seconds left. Lynn with the drive to the basket, won't be contested off the window, it's good. And then Coach Bruce Richardson calls the timeout. So 6.7 left to play, Quakers leading 56-52. They have the lead again, as my man Kevin Calabro would say, the lead and the leather.
A long history of athletics and scholar student athletes here in the Metro League. Again, I hope we have the opportunity to have the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. They didn't do it in 19, couldn't do it in 20.
Right.
And so there's some athletes who haven't had that opportunity yet, and they're hoping that they can make that happen this year.
Yeah, and we were on the way, Tony. It looked like really getting on your front end of this pandemic, and then the Omicron virus is just much more transmissible, and so we're kind of back to, in a lot of ways, it feels like square one. And
I hope people have this figured out now. It's not going to go away. A month ago, they were talking about this was in South Africa. If it's anywhere in the world, it's going to come here.
Yeah. It's going to be spread, and so. We'll see. I just wish that people that are saying, it's not real, that don't want to get vaccinated, don't want to do the things they need to do. It's not about you. I'll say that. It's not about you. It's about, Malcolm X said it best, El Haj Malik El Shabazz. He said, am I my brother's keeper? And I would argue, yes, we are our brother's keeper. Inbounds play, and it's stolen by Dollar. Dollar with a three-pointer. Won't go. Rebound, and at the buzzer, the basket by Petrovic, but too little, too late. And that will make it I believe the bucket counts. Let's see if they put it on the scoreboard. Should be 56-54, I believe. I'm going to give it to them whether the officials do or not. They're not making the mark on the scoreboard there, but I believe the final, Tony, I believe that bucket was good. It was put in before the buzzer went off.
So, well, it was.
So with that said, the Franklin Quakers walk away with the 2-point win, 56-54. And leading the way in the second half was Jamari Jackson Kins with 3, 6, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17 points, Tony, in the second half, and 19 overall.
And Jackson Kins played that role that Craig needed. The team was playing well. The team was playing great defense. They just don't have that one superstar. Jackson Kins says, tonight, it's me.
Yeah.
But they got contributions from a number of players in a number of areas, both offensively and defensively.
They really did. So that's going to do it for us here at Franklin. Make sure to stay tuned tomorrow. Programming all weekend, celebrating the legacy and the life of Dr. Martin Luther, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
You've got the sweatshirt on there. We're going to be also showing a short clip of a film that you are working on. That, by the way, you got a King County for culture grant for.
I did. I received, it was a legacy grant, and received that, and that helped fund the a trip down to the Bay Area where we did a week of filming in October. And the name of the film is Seattle Black Panthers Fight for Justice and Freedom. And my son Marcus and I have partnered in producing the film with co-founders Aaron and Elmer Dixon. And we're excited about the film. We've been working on it for about 20 months or so. And Tony, the one thing that has just become so apparent and true is that these young people were committed to a cause to make things better for people that were discriminated against, that were disenfranchised, that were marginalized. And the crazy thing, man, is that, and I don't think people realize this, is that to make a commitment to something bigger than yourself. And as Elaine Brown said, Elaine Brown, we interviewed her and she said, this is, I'm 50 years into this. She's 78 years old. And she said, I'm 50 years into this. And this is, I am a Panther and this is who I am. And it's not just not doing something on a whim. And these individuals, most of the Seattle chapter that we've talked to, said, we didn't expect to live beyond 25, but yet they were committed to this. And one of the things, based on some of the conversations with Elaine Brown, we want to start the movie out, Tony, and we are going to, have a quote from Huey P. Newton, and then some archival footage from both Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale, talking about why they started the Black Panther Party. We want to, at the very beginning of the movie, dispel any of the rumors that the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, all of the media, has said. And you're going to hear from the mouths of the founders why they were started. And long story short, it was to combat the brutalization, the discrimination that they being the Black community, was experiencing in Oakland and all over the country, but in Oakland in particular. And the party was started in 1966, and then the Seattle chapter started in 1968. So if all goes as planned, we will have the film completed by the end of 2022, and we'll. At this point, we're not sure whether film festivals, whether we get a streaming deal, but it will be available to educate people about the Black Panther Party and the Seattle chapter in particular.
Come on down tomorrow to the Columbia City Theater between noon and 5. Again, it's the MLK Day Holiday Vendor Festival. You'll have the opportunity to purchase one-of-a-kind and unique gifts from members of our Black community. And, I see that as a great way to celebrate the holiday, again, by shopping Black and,
no doubt.
and turning over money in the Black community.
Tony, that's so important that we support one another, and I always challenge myself.
I'm calling it the Black community. I don't mean that we all live in the same area.
Right.
That's not the
right.
case.
Yeah.
But still, a community of Black folks.
Yeah, and so important that we support one another. And I always, as a vendor, but also as a consumer. I mean, I'm challenging myself to make sure that what I have, if what I do, is a professional quality level, and so. You will come out and see some great businesses, and come and join us at the Columbia City Theater tomorrow, noon until 5.
We're going to have a couple, like you said, Rick, we're going to show your short. We'll have another short that we're going to show. And then folks have the opportunity to come out and share your stories as well. And at the end of the day, if we don't hold on to MLK's legacy, the story will be written by others. And I'm already, upset is the word when people have co-opted Dr. King and utilized Dr. King's words and his message in a way that benefits them, but was not the reality of what the message before. I'm being a little careful with my words here, but
absolutely.
It's important work.
Well, he like so many before him and after, had committed his life to a cause, and that just, Tony, that is, I don't know if we, I'll call us the common folk, if you will, however you want to describe, but I don't think most people understand what that's like, to make a commitment, knowing that, hey, I'm likely going to lose my life, or there's a good chance, and I'm still committed to it. And not that, the Panthers I talked to, they were like, hey, I didn't want to lose my life, but this was so important.
Yeah.
I had to stand up and make a difference.
Well, we're excited to once again have brought you high school basketball. We're going to continue to, again, play this game of hide and seek with Omicron and see if we can get these games to you. Thanks again to the Metro League and the staff here at Franklin High School for making this happen so that we can be here. There are a lot of mandates and a lot of pressures, and thanks again to Franklin and all the people, Jen Peterson, the AD here, and all the folks, Craig Jackson, who made it possible for be here. And we're going to keep figuring this out, and we'll keep bringing you games. If that's it, Rick, if that's it, Daniel, do you have anything you want to close out with?
Late breaking news, Lakeside winning over Ingram 51-42. Right there as Lakeside tries to keep pace in the mountain. They're 4-4, 500 on the year. But yeah, this is a big win for Franklin. Actually, they're 3-4 in league, 4-4 overall. So they're still in second place in the Valley. Obviously, at least 4 games away from first place Garfield, but at least a game and a half over Nathan Hale, which is the what they really need to watch. Is they maintain, they will make this championship bracket. Nathan Hale 1-5, Franklin 3-4. But yeah, we'll have more basketball for you next Friday.
Good win.
Rainier Beach, hosting West Seattle, both girls and boys. That's girls at 7 o'clock and boys at 8:30. And as you mentioned, Vendor Festival tomorrow. But after that, on Sunday, check out the Young Leaders event. That's broadcast. It'll only be broadcasted live on Rainier Avenue Radio. 2 o'clock p.m. Martin Luther King Day, Junior Day, Young Leaders event. Sunday, 2 to 4. And following that, on Monday, it's the big daddy of them all, as they say, the 40th annual Martin Luther King Day Junior March and Rally, broadcasting live starting at 10:30 a.m. on Rainier Avenue Radio on Monday. Until 2, we'll cover the entire rally, and we will follow the march from start to finish, and we'll have coverage on different legs. So we'll get all of that on Rainier Avenue Radio. We'll cover it like we're calling it. You want something? Thanksgiving for Dick. You got it, man. Take it easy, man. 10:32 on Monday, 40th annual Seattle Martin Luther King Day Junior Rally and March, biggest in the country. Well, for that, thank you all for listening in to our broadcast here from Franklin. Franklin wins 56-52 for the boys, dropping the number 18 Roosevelt, giving them a loss. And thank you to Michael Carter for tuning in. Thank you to Lala King for turning in. Thank you for everybody else for tuning in. For that, we're going to take it to pre-recorded content. Thank you for listening. Peace and bless.